I live in a sunny, painfully manicured neighborhood where the grass is fake, the smiles are faker, and the rules are written in blur, at least HOA ink. It's the kind of place where lawn flamingos are banned, mailboxes have to be HOA approved taupe, and Karen from Lot 14 treats the rule book like her personal Bible. So when I installed solar panels on my roof, big, beautiful, gleaming panels that sucked sunlight like a sponge, you'd think I'd committed a felony. Karen noticed within 30 minutes. I know this because that's how long it took for the friendly compliance letter to arrive in my mailbox, folded with military precision. Solar panels not approved by HOA Design Committee. Please remove within 48 hours or face fines. No hello, no welcome, just straight to the threats. Classic HOA behavior. I ignored it, naturally. My electricity bill had dropped to near zero, and I wasn't about to rip off thousands of dollars in eco-friendly tech because Karen preferred her view of my roof untouched. On day 3, I received a fine, $100. By the end of the week, it was $300. Then they started doubling it daily, like they were trying to bankrupt me into submission. I figured I'd go to the next HOA meeting and explain myself. Show them the panels were installed professionally, up to code, and barely visible from the street unless you were standing on your mailbox with binoculars. You know, like Karen does. I show up. The room is tense. Karen sits at the head of the folding table like she's Queen of England, flanked by her HOA henchmen. Doug with the tight polo and clipboard, and Linda, whose main role seems to be shaking her head disapprovingly. I'd like to speak about the solar panel fines, I said calmly. Karen smiled like she'd just caught a kid shoplifting. There's nothing to discuss. You installed them without prior approval. Page 42 of the HOA handbook. All external modifications must be pre-approved by the board. I pulled out the state law. According to the Solar Rights Act, HOAs can't stop residents from installing solar panels. Doug adjusted his glasses. That's debatable. Linda murmured something about neighborhood integrity. I left that meeting with a fresh $500 fine and a warning that if I didn't comply, the HOA would remove the panels themselves. I thought they were bluffing. They weren't. 1 week later, I come home from work to find my roof stripped bare, panels gone. No note, no call, no warning. Just a voicemail from Karen. Your property has been brought back into compliance. Have a sunny day. I saw red. They'd taken thousands of dollars worth of panels, my property, without any legal authority. That was theft, plain and simple. I filed a police report. Cops shrugged. Civil matter, I filed a small claims case. The HOA lawyer showed up with a briefcase full of nonsense and smirked the whole time. So I did what any wronged, sun-loving homeowner would do. I started planning. Not a tantrum, not another court case. A takeover. See, what Karen didn't realize was I'm not just some tech nerd with panels. I'm a real estate investor. Quiet one, sure, but I'd already bought 3 homes in the neighborhood, just renting them out. But now I had motivation. I called my broker. We were going shopping for houses, because if the HOA didn't want my solar panels, I'd give them a reason to regret it. Karen had no idea who she was messing with. By the end of that week, I'd closed on 2 more properties in the neighborhood. Quiet deals, nothing flashy, a handshake here, a wire transfer there. While Karen was busy policing trash can placement and measuring grass height, I was silently stacking deeds. 7 houses. That's what I own now. Enough to get me noticed at the next HOA meeting, not as a troublemaker, but as a power player. You see, buried in the HOA charter, there's a golden line. Any homeowner possessing more than 10% of community properties may propose amendments for vote. Guess who just passed that threshold? I showed up to the meeting with a smile and a stack of notarized documents. Karen blinked like she'd seen a ghost. Doug dropped his pen. Linda looked like she was going to faint into her cookie tray. I'd like to propose an amendment, I said, placing my stack on the table. Karen tried to fake a smile. You can't just walk in here. I own 10.5% of the neighborhood now, I interrupted. Actually, 12%. House on Maple went through yesterday. She went silent. The other board members whispered. The room turned cold. My amendment? Simple. Any homeowner may install renewable energy systems on their property without prior HOA approval. And just to twist the knife, I added a line that allowed back pay compensation if the HOA interfered with legal installations. Karen stuttered. This isn't a dictatorship. No, I said, leaning in, but it's not your monarchy anymore either. The vote had to go to the full HOA membership, so I visited every house I didn't already own, explained the situation, showed them my before and after power bills, reminded them how many times they'd been fined for things like bird feeders, Halloween skeletons, or accidentally parking a bumper an inch over the sidewalk. Most didn't need convincing. The vote passed in a landslide, and with it, the cracks in Karen's empire started to widen. The solar panel rule was dead. But I wasn't done. With my amendment in place, I reinstalled a newer, better solar array on my roof. This time, I added backup batteries, EV chargers, even an off-grid switch. My house became a sun-powered fortress, and for the homes I owned, I installed panels on all of them too. Group discount. My tenants loved it. No energy bills. Some of them were getting credits from the power company. Karen, meanwhile, was fuming. She filed complaints, called the state, even tried to petition the board to freeze all renewable installations pending investigation. But nobody listened. She'd lost her power. Then came the final twist. The HOA's clubhouse, Karen's sacred ground, sat on land the HOA didn't technically own. It was common land maintained through dues. I filed paperwork to purchase the lot through a loophole in the county records. Took 2 months and a ton of legal dancing, but eventually, it was mine. I installed solar panels on that roof too. Now the power they once stole from me, it's literally fueling their own meetings. Karen still tries to act important, still waves her clipboard around, but her throne is gone. The neighborhood has changed. We've got Halloween light shows, solar rooftops, wind chimes, lawn gnomes, even inflatable dinosaur. And me? I sit on my porch watching the sun go down over the most eco-powered, HOA rebellion-filled block in the state. And I smile, sipping iced tea made with sunlight. Because when they tried to erase my progress, I didn't just fight back. I took the whole grid with me. You'd think after losing a neighborhood-wide vote, having her clubhouse powered by my panels, and watching half the community go off-grid, Karen would back down. Oh no, not Karen. She called an emergency HOA assembly. Handwritten flyers duct taped to mailboxes, screaming in all caps, "Stop the solar takeover. Take back our neighborhood." It was adorable. I showed up just to see the meltdown in real time. Karen was standing in front of the clubhouse with a megaphone and a folding table covered in petitions. Doug and Linda were behind her, looking like kids forced to help at a garage sale. "He's destroying our community," she shouted as I walked up. "Turning it into a tech zone," I raised a brow. "By saving people money and ending your reign of lawn terror? He's unaccountable," she bellowed. "Running a shadow government of solar." Someone from the crowd muttered, "At least the sun doesn't write fines." Karen ignored that. She passed out her petitions. She tried to rally the older crowd, claimed the solar panels were emitting radiation and that kids were getting sun poisoning. She even said my backup battery was a fire hazard made of lithium and lies. Problem was, the neighborhood had changed. People weren't afraid of her anymore. Some had already started holding backyard barbecues, real ones, with music that wasn't pre-approved. One guy even built a treehouse without filling out Form 8B. Karen's fear magic was gone. Still, she wasn't done swinging. A week later, I got a certified letter from the HOA's legal department. Apparently, they were suing me for neighborhood destabilization. That's right, destabilization. Like I was a political insurgent and not just a guy with solar panels and a functioning brain. Their case was a mess. Half of it was hand-typed. One page literally said, "He's ruining the aesthetic. People are starting to think for themselves." That one made me laugh out loud. I countersued. My lawyer, bless her sarcastic, savage heart, went full beast mode. We argued theft of property, those original stolen panels, emotional distress, harassment, and attempted suppression of legally protected energy rights. We had receipts, emails, security footage, HOA fines, even one video of Karen yelling at my Tesla like it owed her money. Court day came. Small courtroom. Big energy. Karen showed up in a beige suit, looking like she was trying to cosplay as justice. I showed up with documents, witnesses, and 3 neighbors who couldn't wait to tell the judge about Karen's antics, including the time she threatened to fine someone for having a garden gnome that winked aggressively. Judge listened, nodded, flipped through the stack of HOA violations and laughed more than once. Final verdict? HOA ordered to pay me $85,000 for damages. reimburse the full cost of my original panels, and issue a formal apology to every resident who had received an unlawful solar-related violation. Karen's name was specifically mentioned twice, but the money, that wasn't the best part. Because right after that, 5 more homeowners came to me asking if I'd consider buying their houses. They were done with HOA life. They wanted out. So I did what any petty solar-powered neighborhood investor would do. I bought all 5. Now I owned over a quarter of the neighborhood. Not only did I have voting power, I was the power. And Karen, she was no longer the rulebook queen. She was just another angry tenant living in a house on land powered by the sun that I controlled. By the time Karen lost her lawsuit, her voice had gone from HOA megaphone to neighborhood meme. People made t-shirts with "Stop the Solar Takeover" as a joke. Someone even put up a Halloween display of a glowing Karen mannequin holding a melted HOA rulebook. It was a masterpiece. I didn't do it, but I may have donated a fog machine. But Karen wasn't just humiliated, she was cornered. See, the HOA was broke. My legal win had drained their reserve fund. The HOA insurance tried to dodge paying, citing willful misconduct, which meant, you guessed it, Karen was personally liable for a chunk of the settlement. She tried fundraising, set up a Save Our Streets page, claimed I was turning the neighborhood into an energy cult. She got $37 and a snarky comment from a neighbor that said, "Maybe try working at the solar company." Doug quit the board. Linda joined a yoga retreat and never came back. The HOA meetings got quieter and shorter until they just stopped happening. Karen kept showing up anyway, sitting in a folding chair in the empty clubhouse, muttering about protocols and insubordination. Meanwhile, I was busy. With nearly 30% of the homes under my name, I started remodeling. Every house got a sleek solar upgrade, smart thermostats, energy-efficient appliances, even mini gardens. Tenants loved it. Power bills were non-existent. A few homes even started earning back credits from the energy company. So I took it a step further. I installed a microgrid, a network of solar-connected homes sharing power, storing extra energy in communal batteries. The neighborhood now operated on its own internal system. No blackout issues. No dependency on the grid. We were officially off-grid royalty. Then came the kicker. One of the original houses I bought, it was directly next to Karen's. She still owned hers, but barely. Missed mortgage payments were catching up. Rumors swirled about foreclosure, but I didn't want her gone. Not yet. Instead, I renovated the house beside hers into a full-blown solar-powered community hub. Free Wi-Fi, charging stations, coffee brewed by sunlight, a mini theater that played energy documentaries and Pixar movies. Every Saturday, kids gathered outside for games while their parents chilled in solar-powered massage chairs. Karen called the cops 3 times, claimed I was running an unlicensed social center. Police came once, took a free coffee, left smiling. She stood on her lawn, arms crossed, watching her kingdom, once so quiet, so beige, so rule-heavy, turn into the liveliest, sunniest HOA-free haven in the county. And then, the final twist. Karen's house finally hit foreclosure. I got the alert. The auction was quiet. No bidders showed up, except me. I bought it. I bought Karen's house. She came home to a notice taped to her door. New ownership, 60 days to vacate, or she could rent it. From me. She knocked on my door the next morning. No clipboard, no sunglasses, just a worn-down, sunburned scowl. "You planned this," she hissed. I smiled. "No, Karen. You planned this. You wrote every fine, made every threat, broke every law. I just followed the sunlight." She left. 2 months later, she was gone. Her old house? I remodeled it too. Solar panels, bright blue paint, a giant inflatable flamingo in the yard just for irony. The neighborhood loved it, and the best part, I renamed the street. What used to be Maplewood Court was now Solar Way. Because in the end, Karen didn't just lose control of the HOA, she lost the street, the clubhouse, the power, and her own roof. All to a guy who just wanted to go green and got a little revenge on the side.